Black CEO's daughter kicked out of first class minutes later. Her dad grounds the entire crew. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's video, I need your help. We've noticed that the channel is losing traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can help us. It's quick, free, and allows us to continue bringing you great content. Your support means everything. Let's keep this channel growing collectively. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's get back to the story. Ma'am, this seat isn't for unaccompanied minors. Please move her to coach. The words slice through the calm cabin like a blade. First class freezes. The girl in the red dress blinks up, confused, small, but proud. Naomi Carter, 11 years old, seat 2A, paid in full. Yet to the flight attendant, hovering over her, that detail doesn't matter. What matters is the color of her skin, the simplicity of her cardigan, the fact that she's alone. The attendant, Rebecca Hale, forces a smile sharp enough to cut. Sweetheart, you can't sit here. These seats are for priority passengers. A few travelers glance up, curious. One man lowers his tablet, another smirks. The air starts to hum with something heavy judgment. Naomi clutches her boarding pass tighter. My dad booked this, she says softly. Rebecca laughs under her breath. I'm sure he did. Then to the two uniformed attendants behind her. Please verify the ticket. This looks like a system error. They step closer, two men built like bouncers, polite but firm. One says, Miss, stand up. Naomi shakes her head, her voice trembling now. But it's my seat. Then you won't mind showing ID, Rebecca says. Or maybe you just printed something at home. A passenger whispers, here we go again. Phone already in hand. Across the aisle, a young trainee flight attendant Mia watches, lips pressed tight. On her tablet, she sees the name Naomi Carter confirmed. VIP code, C-level executive family. Her stomach drops. She starts to speak, but Rebecca cuts her off with a glare. Stay quiet, trainee. I've got this. The two men reach for the girl's arm. Naomi flinches. The phone cameras catch the moment, the small, terrified voice breaking through the cabin. Daddy, I didn't do anything. Okay. The sound freezes everything. Even the engines seem quieter. From row 6, a deep voice answers, not loud, but it carries the weight of authority. You're right, the voice says. You didn't. Every head turns. A tall man in a dark navy suit steps into the aisle, his presence calm yet commanding. His eyes lock on the attendants, gripping his daughter's arms. Let go of her, he says. They hesitate. Rebecca steps in, defensive. Sir, please stay seated. We're handling a situation. Izapru. He moves closer, the air around him shifting like gravity itself. Are you, he says quietly, handling it or causing it? Before we continue, where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. And if you believe in dignity and justice, hit like and subscribe. These stories spark change, and we're glad you're here. Now, back to Marcus Carter, the man every airline executive knows by name. Rebecca's smile fades as he stops beside her. The badge on his wrist glints under the cabin lights. Horizon Airlines executive ID. Passengers murmur. Cameras tilt. Marcus kneels to meet his daughter's eyes. You okay, baby? Naomi nods, tears caught in her lashes. He rises slowly, turning to the crew. What exactly? He asks, voice calm as thunder before it breaks. Did my daughter do wrong? No one answers, because they all know the storm has already begun. No one dares to breathe as Marcus Carter straightens to his full height. The two uniformed attendants step back, confusion spreading like turbulence. Rebecca clings to the last shred of her authority. Sir, this child was seated in first class without guardian supervision. We're following FAA policy. Marcus's eyes don't waver. And what policy says you can lay hands on a child without proof of misconduct? Her confidence falters. We were ensuring security. Marcus tilts his head. Security from what? From an 11-year-old reading a book in seat 2A? A soft ripple of murmurs moves through the cabin. Passengers glance at each other. The truth is visible now. Rebecca isn't protecting procedure. She's protecting pride. Naomi wipes her tears, trying to sit up straight. Dad, they said I couldn't be here. He kneels again, calm but firm. You're exactly where you belong. Mia, the trainee, hesitates in the galley. Her fingers shake as she checks the manifest again. Naomi Carter, confirmed ticket, executive family priority. She knows the name. Everyone at Horizon does. Marcus Carter isn't just another businessman, he's the owner. The man who rebuilt the airline after its worst scandal. The face on the internal posters labeled "Integrity Above Altitude." But he didn't fly private this time. He chose commercial, quietly, to see if the culture he built really lived up to the promise. And now, he's getting his answer in real time. Rebecca folds her arms, voice sharp again. Look, sir, you can't just appear and… Marcus interrupts without raising his tone. I didn't appear. I boarded like everyone else. I sat in 4B. You didn't notice because I wasn't wearing a name tag. Her mouth opens, then closes. Behind her, one of the attendants whispers, Oh my God. Another passenger mutters, That's Marcus Carter, the CEO. Phones lift higher. Red recording lights glow like tiny warning signals in the cabin's soft light. Mia takes a step forward. Captain, she says nervously, addressing the intercom. We might have a situation requiring discretion. Rebecca spins. Mia, stay out of this. But Marcus gestures for her to continue. No, let her speak. Mia swallows hard. Sir, her seat was verified. I saw it. The system flagged her as VIP family. There was no error. Marcus nods slightly. Thank you. Rebecca's face pales. That can't be right. The system must have. Marcus cuts in, his voice low, deliberate. The system didn't fail, Miss Hale. You did. Silence, heavy, absolute. From the back, a man whispers to his wife. This is about to get real. The girl in red looks between them all, her small hands trembling, unsure if she's safe or in more trouble than before. Marcus gently takes Naomi's boarding pass from her hand and lays it flat on the tray table. Flight 472, he says, almost to himself. A test route for Horizon's new crew diversity program. Interesting. Rebecca blinks. You were testing us? He meets her gaze. I was testing truth, and right now, it's failing spectacularly. The captain's voice finally cracks through the intercom. Awkward. Uncertain. This is Captain Lewis. Everything all right in first class? Marcus lifts the phone beside the galley. Captain, this is Marcus Carter. You'll maintain altitude and hold course. I'll be taking command of this cabin until we land. A stunned pause follows. Understood, sir. Mia exhales softly, relief and awe mixing in her chest. Rebecca stares, speechless now, caught between embarrassment and fear. Marcus turns to Naomi again. You okay to stay here for a bit? She nods, small but steady. Yes, Daddy. He smiles faintly. Good, because we're about to teach a lesson 30,000 feet above the ground. End quote. Outside, the clouds glide by, silent witnesses to what's about to unfold inside Horizon Flight 472. The test is no longer theoretical. It's personal, and the turbulence ahead won't come from the sky. The hum of the engine seems louder now, swallowing the silence that no one dares to break. Rebecca's professional mask begins to crack. Her voice lowers but still trembles with defiance. Mr. Carter, I didn't mean any disrespect. We were simply ensuring the comfort of our premium passengers. Marcus's eyes sharpen. My daughter is a premium passenger. What you meant was comfort for people who look like your idea of premium. The words land like a verdict. No shouting, just truth. Precise, heavy, undeniable. Naomi looks around, still gripping her small backpack like armor. The eyes on her sting, some apologetic, some merely curious, some coldly silent. A woman 2 seats over whispers, she's just a kid, and earns a scowl from Rebecca. In the corner of the cabin, Mia can barely breathe. She knows she should stay quiet, but the wrongness in the air is suffocating. She scrolls through her tablet again, her heart hammering as she sees the internal note. Training Supervisor, R. Hale. Rebecca herself oversees the anti-bias compliance module she just violated. Marcus glances at Mia's screen, reading the reflection in her eyes. Interesting, isn't it? He says softly. When the teacher fails her own lesson. Rebecca flushes red. Sir, please don't twist this around. We have to follow procedures. Unattended minors can't occupy exit row seats or certain premium classes without. She wasn't unattended. Marcus cuts in. Her guardian was 6 feet away. Me. That's when the captain himself emerges from the cockpit, a tall man in his 50s, calm voice, cautious eyes. Is there a problem, Mr. Carter? Marcus doesn't raise his tone. Yes, Captain, there's a culture problem, and it's sitting right here in your first-class cabin. A murmur ripples again. Phones lift discreetly, capturing the tension, the quiet unraveling of hierarchy. Rebecca tries to regain composure, whispering to the attendants, deactivate the Wi-Fi feed, no recordings. Marcus hears it. Don't bother, the truth doesn't need Wi-Fi to travel. Naomi leans into his arm. Can we just go home, Daddy? He looks down, softens. We will. But first, they'll learn why silence isn't safety. The captain clears his throat. Mr. Carter, I assure you this is an isolated misunderstanding. Marcus straightens, voice calm but edged like glass. Is it? Because I've reviewed 7 passenger reports this quarter with nearly identical language, out of place, unverified, doesn't match profile. How many of those were escalated? The captain hesitates. I'm not sure. In quote. You will be, Marcus replies. Before we land. Rebecca's mask finally slips completely. You can't just investigate us mid-flight. That's not procedure. Marcus smiles faintly. Neither is calling security on a child, yet here we are. Mia finally finds her courage. Sir, she says, voice shaking but resolute. I saw her name. She's not lying. The system confirmed her before we even boarded. Rebecca spins, furious. Mia, enough. Orsant. But Marcus turns to the young trainee and says, Don't stop. Integrity has no rank. A man in business class calls out, You tell her, brother. Applause bursts from a few rows back before dying into stunned silence. Marcus nods once in thanks but stays composed. Let's keep this respectful. This isn't about revenge. It's about reflection. He steps toward the galley phone again, pressing a code only executives know. Rachel, he says evenly. Activate internal audit. Flight 472, live session. Begin crew behavior review under code Horizon Red. Her voice comes through the speaker, steady as ever. Confirmed, Mr. Carter. Recording initiated. All cabin audio logged. Rebecca's knees nearly buckle. Wait, you're activating corporate oversight now. Marcus glances at her. You wanted authority. You're about to meet it. Naomi's small hand slips into his. The cabin is utterly silent now, even the hum of engines fading behind the weight of what's coming. And as Marcus looks around, his calm spreads like pressure before a storm. For years, people like Rebecca have decided who belongs at 30,000 feet. But not today. Today, altitude meets accountability. The red light on the intercom blinks, silently corporate recording in progress. Every breath, every whisper, every false smile now belongs to evidence. Rebecca's poise crumbles. You can't do this without union clearance. Marcus doesn't even glance at her. You should have thought of that before you mistook bias for protocol. Mia stands frozen in the galley, tablet in hand, eyes flicking between her supervisor and the man who signs her paychecks. She shouldn't speak. Trainees don't speak. But the silence tastes wrong, metallic, suffocating. So she steps forward. Mr. Carter, she says, voice trembling but audible enough for half the cabin to hear. Everything she's saying is false. Your daughter's name was verified twice, once at gate check, once on boarding. Rebecca spins around. Mia, her tone snaps like a whip. You're done. You'll never fly again if you open your mouth one more time. The girl flinches, but Marcus gestures calmly. No, let her finish. Mia swallows, hands trembling around the tablet. Sir, she told us to flag passengers who didn't match first-class expectations. She said it was brand protection. Gasps ripple through the rows. A man filming from his phone mutters, "She really said that?" Another passenger whispers, "I've seen her do that before." Rebecca's voice rises. "That's a lie. She's just trying to save herself." Marcus's tone stays level. "Then we'll test that claim." He taps his phone screen once. "Rachel, pull flight crew directives for Hale, Rebecca. Last 60 days. Rachel's voice comes clear through the cabin speaker. Records retrieved. 4 incidents under Miss Hale's supervision. 3 involved minority passengers escalated for verification. 2 labeled unverified boarding, all cleared as staff discretion. The silence that follows feels heavier than gravity. Mia exhales shakily. She wasn't crazy. It wasn't her imagination. Marcus nods toward her. "Thank you for speaking up." The young attendant's eyes glisten, both terrified and relieved. "I just couldn't keep quiet anymore." Naomi watches her, wide-eyed. The little girl's voice, fragile but fierce, breaks the quiet. "Thank you for helping me." That simple sentence pierces the cabin harder than any accusation. Several passengers lower their cameras, ashamed they hadn't said anything sooner. Rebecca's facade fractures completely. "You don't understand what it's like. Every flight, we're judged by how the cabin looks. I was following training." Marcus steps closer. "Training didn't teach you to humiliate a child. That's habit. Infected." Her lips tremble, searching for a defense that isn't there. The captain's voice comes back through the intercom, nervous now. "Mr. Carter, corporate just contacted us directly. Are you confirming a live review?" Marcus presses the receiver. "Confirmed. We'll finish it before we land." Passengers shift in their seats, sensing they're witnessing something historic, an injustice being dismantled in real time, 30,000 feet above the ground. Mia wipes her eyes, standing a little taller now. "Sir, there's more." The system shows she marked Naomi's ticket for downgrade 5 minutes before boarding. She overrode gate verification. Marcus turns slowly. "You downgraded a paid first-class seat?" Rebecca shakes her head in panic. "It was a system glitch." Rachel's voice answers before Marcus can speak. "Checked it already, sir. No glitch. Manual override from crew ID RH112. Rebecca Hale." The crowd murmurs. Phones tilt again. Truth has become theater, and this time the audience sides with the truth. Marcus nods once, controlled. "Noted. Continue the log." Rebecca's voice cracks. "Please. I've worked here 15 years. Marcus's tone softens slightly but not enough to save her. "Then you've had 15 years to know better." He turns to the passengers. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the disruption. You'll be compensated for this delay." "ICOM." Someone calls out. "No apology needed, sir. Thank you for standing up." Another adds, "About time someone did." Mia exhales, the fear finally loosening its grip. She glances at Naomi, still clutching her book, trying to be brave, and whispers, "You did nothing wrong." Naomi gives a tiny nod. "Neither did you." For the first time in years, the cabin feels lighter. Not because the plane climbed higher, but because truth finally did. And for Rebecca Hale, standing under the harsh cabin lights, the altitude suddenly feels like judgment itself. ChatGPT, Kote Makloi, OpenAI Hungsidu. The plane hits a mild pocket of turbulence, but no one flinches, because the real storm is happening inside. Rebecca stands rigid by the beverage cart, knuckles white against the metal edge, her authority evaporating with every word logged into Marcus's phone. Her voice breaks through the hum of the engines. "You're ruining my career over one misunderstanding." Marcus turns slowly. "One?" He holds up the phone on screen. Rachel's audit report scrolls like an indictment. 4 complaints, all nearly identical. Unverified passenger of color. Escalated for comfort reassurance. He looks at her, unblinking. "That's not a misunderstanding. That's a pattern." Rebecca's mouth opens, but no words come out. She glances around the cabin as if searching for sympathy, but all she finds are eyes cold, curious, recording. A man in row 3 says quietly, "I've seen this before. My wife got pulled off a flight last year for routine verification. Another woman murmurs. Same airline. Naomi's small voice breaks the tension. Daddy, are they gonna take her job? Marcus kneels beside her again, his tone soft but deliberate. No, baby. She took it from herself the moment she forgot respect. If you want. A beat of silence, heavy and human. Then a noise. Rebecca's headset crackles. A voice from ground operations. Crew hail, report status. We're receiving a protocol flag from Flight 472. Confirm reason for escalation. Rebecca freezes. She doesn't answer. Marcus stands, takes the headset gently from her hand, and presses the button. This is Marcus Carter, CEO. Reason for escalation. Racial misconduct in first class. Continue recording. The cabin goes still. Every passenger hears it. Mia covers her mouth, part disbelief, part awe. Rebecca whispers, "You didn't have to humiliate me like this." Marcus meets her eyes. Humiliation isn't what you felt when you made a little girl cry, is it? That was power. This, he gestures to the silent, watching passengers. This is consequence. She trembles, trying to cling to professionalism. You think you can just destroy me? Marcus's voice doesn't rise. It doesn't need to. I don't destroy people, Miss Hale. I expose behavior. What happens after that is called accountability. Naomi leans against his arm, whispering, "That's what you always say, right? Fair doesn't mean friendly." Marcus smiles faintly. Exactly. The captain steps into the aisle again, sweat on his forehead. "Mr. Carter, we've been contacted by corporate ethics directly. They're patching into your feed." Rachel's voice returns over speakerphone, crisp, authoritative. Live connection established. HR confirms full review under Horizon Red. Continue documentation. Rebecca tries to speak, but her words stumble. "Please, sir, I've got kids. I didn't." Marcus raises a hand. So does she. He nods toward Naomi. And she'll grow up knowing she never has to shrink herself to be treated with dignity. The plane jolts again, harder this time, as if the sky itself were listening. A paper cup falls to the floor, rolling between rows. In that brief silence, a flashback hits Naomi. A different plane, a different year. She was 6, sitting beside her father when a security agent stopped him mid-boarding to reconfirm his ticket. She remembers the way he smiled through it, calm, collected, the same calm she sees now. Back then, she asked him why he didn't shout. He told her, because sometimes silence makes them listen louder. Now, she understands. Rebecca's radio suddenly crackles again. "Crew hail, you're under temporary suspension pending review." Her face drains of color. The cabin gasps. Even Marcus looks momentarily surprised by the speed of corporate response. Rachel's voice follows, precise and cold. "Mr. Carter, corporate oversight confirms live authorization. You have full authority to enact preliminary discipline until landing." Rebecca stumbles back against the galley wall. You can't just suspend me in the air." Marcus looks at her, his tone steady as the engines outside. "No, Miss Hale, I can't, but your own choices already did. Is not." The captain's voice echoes from the front again, softer now, almost reverent. "Passengers, please remain seated. We're experiencing a moment of internal correction." A quiet laugh ripples through the cabin, not mockery, but relief. Mia wipes her eyes. Naomi exhales, finally relaxing into her seat. And Marcus looks out the window, where sunlight breaks through layers of cloud light after turbulence. He knows what comes next. This isn't just a reprimand, it's a reckoning. The sky outside is a deep, unbroken blue, the kind of stillness that hides pressure underneath. Inside the cabin, that pressure is ready to break. Marcus Carter stands in the narrow aisle like a man commanding a courtroom, not a plane. His voice remains calm, every word chosen with surgical precision. "Miss Hale, please take a seat. The remainder of this flight will operate under executive review." Rebecca's throat tightens. "You can't." "I can," Marcus interrupts softly. "And I will. You've called security on my child. You've initiated a false report. You've compromised this airline's reputation mid-air." He looks toward the ceiling where a small camera blinks red. "Rachel, confirm live documentation." Confirmed, Mr. Carter, comes the voice over speaker, crisp as glass. Protocol Horizon Red is now in full effect. Crew hail, you are officially relieved of duty. Gasps flutter through the cabin like a sudden gust. A few passengers begin clapping, hesitant at first, then stronger, as if justice itself had found its rhythm. Rebecca's hand trembles. She looks to the captain, desperate. Captain Lewis, please. But the captain avoids her eyes. You heard corporate, stand down. Rebecca's lips tremble. This isn't fair. Marcus nods slowly. You're right. Fairness would have been treating every passenger the same way you treat those who look like your advertisements. And the 70s. The line hits like thunder, muffled by calm. Naomi stares up at him, eyes wide, her fear melting into something else, pride. From the galley, Mia watches in awe as Marcus reaches into his jacket and pulls out a slim black case. Inside rests a gold-trimmed identification badge embossed with the Horizon Airlines insignia. He holds it up for everyone to see. This, he says, is the only authority that matters up here, integrity. And it's been missing for too long. Rebecca can't breathe. Her whole career flashes behind her eyes. The countless flights, the passengers she dismissed, the warnings she ignored. She whispers, I was following culture. Marcus steps closer. Then it's time that culture learned who built it. He gestures toward Mia. Miss Lang, please take over first-class operations until we land. Mia's eyes widen. Sir, I'm just a trainee. Marcus smiles faintly. Then you'll learn fast. You already know how to tell the truth. That's more training than most. It's too inclined. Passengers nod. Some even tear up. Naomi squeezes Mia's hand as she passes by. You're brave, the little girl says. Mia swallows hard. You too. Rebecca sinks into a jump seat, eyes vacant, the once confident posture gone. For the first time, she looks small against the gleaming walls of the cabin she once ruled. Marcus turns to address everyone, voice carrying like calm thunder. For years, this airline claimed to stand for diversity, dignity, and service. But values aren't slogans, they're habits. And habits show up when no one's watching. He lets the words hang, every syllable cutting through the air like clarity itself. Today, you all watched. From somewhere mid-cabin, a passenger calls out, That's leadership right there. Another adds, About time someone at the top cared what happens in the seats below. Applause ripples through the aisle again, genuine this time, no fear, no performance, just respect. Marcus looks to Naomi, then back to the crew. This moment isn't about punishment, it's about perspective. We're not rewriting policy, we're resetting humanity. Rebecca finally speaks, her voice hoarse. You don't understand. They expect us to maintain image, to keep the brand pure. Marcus cuts her off with quiet finality. Brand purity doesn't exist without human decency. Every uniform in this cabin represents trust, not status. He presses the intercom button again. Rachel, please notify ground command. Upon landing, all current crew except Mia Lang are suspended pending ethics review. Security will meet us at gate 17. Confirmed, Mr. Carter, Rachel replies. The captain exhales softly, almost relieved. Thank you, sir. We'll begin descent in 20 minutes. Naomi looks out the window. The clouds part, revealing the shimmering Pacific, far below, a reminder that they're almost home. She leans toward her father. Are they going to be okay? Marcus answers gently. They will be once they learn what accountability feels like. The little girl nods, eyes thoughtful. You didn't yell. Marcus smiles. You don't have to shout when the truth is louder. The engines hum steady again, smooth and calm, like the world itself is exhaling after holding its breath too long. But Marcus knows this isn't the end of the flight. It's the beginning of change, the kind that doesn't need turbulence to make people wake up. The seatbelt light flickers on, a quiet chime that feels almost ceremonial. Every passenger senses it, the climax no movie could script better. Marcus Carter stands in the aisle, steady as if the whole sky were his witness. He glances toward the captain's door. Captain Lewis, please open internal comms to corporate. The door clicks. A soft beep signals the connection. Rebecca looks up, pale and shaking. Please, Don't do this here. Marcus turns, his tone almost gentle. Here is exactly where it happens, because this is where you decided she didn't belong. He steps forward, voice low but carrying to every row. You called security on my daughter, on a paid first-class passenger, on an 11-year-old who happens to be my child. He pauses. And you did it in an airline I own. The cabin gasps a ripple that spreads like wind across water. Rebecca's breath catches. You own Horizon? Marcus nods once. 82%. Phones rise again, recording, but this time it doesn't feel like gossip, it feels like testimony. Naomi stares up at her father, her fear replaced by awe. She whispers, "You told me power means responsibility." He kneels, smiling faintly. And sometimes responsibility means standing up when it's least convenient. From the galley speaker, Rachel's voice fills the space, calm and surgical. All personnel on Flight 472. This is a live feed. Mr. Carter's authority is verified. Horizon's executive board is listening. Rebecca tries to speak, but her throat tightens. Sir, please, I didn't know who she was. Marcus doesn't blink. That's the problem, Miss Hale. You didn't need to know. Respect shouldn't depend on recognition. A wave of murmurs follows. A man in business class shakes his head, muttering, "Damn, that's truth right there." 12. Across the aisle, Mia bites her lip, overwhelmed. She's watching something she'll never forget, not a takedown, but a transformation. Marcus straightens and addresses the passengers. If any of you have ever been dismissed, ignored, or profiled on one of my flights, I'm sorry. That ends today. Applause erupts, cautious at first, then full, unstoppable. Some stand, some simply nod with quiet gratitude. Rebecca's shoulders slump. So what happens now? She whispers. Marcus looks down at her. Now? We write a new chapter. He presses his earpiece again. Rachel, confirm terminations of crew Hale and related staff under breach of ethics policy 14B. Rachel's tone stays even. Confirmed. Suspension logged. Termination pending HR review upon landing. Rebecca's knees give out slightly. She sinks into a nearby seat, eyes distant. 15 years. Gone. Marcus exhales, not angry, just tired. No. 15 years of silence caught up with you. There's a difference. Mia steps forward timidly. Mr. Carter, sir, what do I do now? He turns to her. Keep doing what you did. Tell the truth, even when it shakes the room. Naomi smiles, tugging at his sleeve. You sound like Grandpa. Marcus chuckles softly. He taught me that integrity travels farther than any plane. He looks at the rows before him, a sea of faces, all changed by what they've just witnessed. Some still stunned, some emotional, but all aware they've seen something larger than one man's power. They've seen restraint used as revolution. Marcus takes a deep breath. Ladies and gentlemen, this flight began like any other, but somewhere between departure and descent, we remembered that equality isn't optional. He looks at Naomi again. You asked me once why I built this airline instead of retiring. This is why. Because every time someone like her is told she doesn't belong, I'll make sure she never hears it twice. The passengers applaud again, not polite, not forced, real, raw. Mia wipes a tear, smiling through it. I'll never forget this flight, she says softly. Marcus smiles back. Good, neither will Horizon. Outside the window, Los Angeles shimmers under the clouds, gold against blue, calm after chaos. The city waits below, unaware that a corporate culture just shifted at 30,000 feet. Marcus sits beside Naomi, finally exhaling. See, we didn't need to shout. She grins. You just needed to be Dad. He laughs quietly. That's the best title I've got. The captain's voice returns. Steady now. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll begin our descent shortly. On behalf of Horizon Airlines and our CEO on board, thank you for your patience. The passengers chuckle softly. Even Marcus smiles. Justice has landed, and it didn't need turbulence to arrive. The landing gear hums as the aircraft begins its slow descent, but inside the cabin, it feels like something far greater is coming down: pride, pretense, the quiet armor of ignorance. Rebecca Hale sits motionless in her jump seat, staring at nothing. The authority once welded to her uniform now feels like a costume she can't take off fast enough. Marcus remains calm, his phone still lit with corporate confirmation codes. The entire crew, except Mia, has been flagged for suspension. The captain's voice crackles through the intercom. Approach confirmed. Ground compliance and HR representatives will meet us at gate 17. Rebecca's eyes close. They're really waiting down there? She whispers. Marcus nods. For years, accountability waited too. It finally caught its flight. Mia moves quietly between rows, helping passengers fasten belts. She's no longer trembling. Her steps have weight now. One woman whispers, "You handled yourself with grace, honey." Mia smiles, shy but proud. "I just did what was right." Naomi leans against the window, watching the clouds peel away to reveal Los Angeles bathed in gold. "Daddy," she murmurs, "does this mean they're all fired?" Marcus answers softly, "It means they'll have to face what they've built. Sometimes that's harder than losing a job." The plane dips lower. Every creak feels like a sigh of relief. Rebecca looks toward Naomi, voice breaking. "I really didn't mean to hurt her." Marcus turns slightly. "Then remember that. Let it be the reason you never do it again." From the cockpit, the captain announces, "Cabin crew, prepare for landing." Mia gives one last glance at Marcus and Naomi, two faces that changed her entire view of courage, then takes her seat. Outside, the runway comes into view. Inside, silence heavy but pure. Marcus takes Naomi's hand. "You see, baby, justice doesn't always make noise. Sometimes it just lands." The wheels touch down with a smooth, decisive thud. And in that sound, part relief, part reckoning, every soul on Flight 472 knows. They didn't just arrive in Los Angeles. They arrived at the truth. The cabin doors open with a hiss, letting in warm California light, bright, unforgiving, real. The smell of asphalt and jet fuel mingles with something cleaner. Change. Marcus Carter stands first, waiting as compliance officers in gray suits step aboard. Behind them, a small media team quietly films. News of the mid-air confrontation has already reached the ground. He doesn't speak right away. He looks around at Naomi, calm and proud, at Mia, who stands straighter than ever, and at Rebecca, head bowed, trembling in the seat she once commanded. When he finally speaks, his tone is even, but it fills the plane. "This isn't a victory," he says. "It's a reminder that equality without accountability is just marketing." He gestures toward Mia. This young woman chose truth over comfort. She represents what Horizon is supposed to stand for. Mia swallows hard, her voice soft. "I just didn't want to stay quiet anymore." Marcus nods. Silence protects systems, not people. And today, silence lost. Naomi squeezes his hand. "Can we go home now, Daddy?" He smiles faintly. "Yes, baby. We're home, and so is justice." A test. The compliance lead steps forward. "Mr. Carter, ground teams are ready. Shall we escort the crew out?" Marcus nods once. "Let them walk. Let everyone see that respect isn't negotiable." As Rebecca passes by, she stops, eyes glistening. "I'll never forget this, sir." Marcus answers quietly. "Good. Change doesn't start until shame learns its name." Passengers begin filing out, some still whispering, some clapping softly, others simply watching with reverence. Mia lingers near the exit. "Sir, what happens now?" Marcus looks out the window at the sunlight spilling over the tarmac. "Now, we rebuild, from altitude to attitude." He turns to Naomi. "You remember what Grandpa used to say?" She nods. Dignity doesn't shout. He smiles. "That's right. It just stands tall." As father and daughter step into the California morning, cameras click, engines cool, and one quiet truth echoes through the cabin. "I didn't raise my voice. I raised the standard. To have ascended. Justice didn't just land today. It took off, and the whole world watched it fly. ChatGPT Kothe Makloi. OpenAI Kongsidungdi.